Okay, so we've made our blank page, and let's get started with everything that makes Bootstrap do its thing, and that's working with Bootstrap rows and columns. Here at Build the Geek members, if you're not a member, go on over to our website at buildthegeek.com/members, or if you need a private class, give me a call, 415-839-0096. But here's how the rows and columns work out. Now, in a previous episode, remember we had all of this 12 grid system. One row, another row, another row, and then you just put stuff in the little boxes. So, and then beyond that, all these rows go in a container. And in the land of Bootstrap, you can put them in one of two types of containers. A total fluid grid where you're at 100% screen width, or you can just use a regular container, which is it's not going to be full screen. It will be centered, and you'll have space on the left and the right in our sample that you can download here in a second. But we're going to use a full fluid grid. So the magic of the story comes in to this magical secret code I'm about to show you right now. And here you go. We're going to go into Dreamweaver, and you're going to see that I have used a fluid dash container. And then in the fluid dash container, I'm going to have rows. And the rows are all divs. And you're going to see in the code, it's going to say div class equal row. Now, all of this is predefined CSS in Bootstrap. And these little magical things down here are all predefined classes in Bootstrap. That's why there's like 6,000 lines of code in the Bootstrap CSS document. Now, here's how this works. This is like going to Walmart and getting a sweatshirt. You've got large, you have small, you have medium, and then you have extra small. So they have a class called call-extra small-1. Now, it's a 12 grid system, of course. So if you have like, let's say XS1, well, if it's XS1, then it's just going to be just one of these things. And you would just put in that again and again and again and again and again. Let's look at this. Instead of XS1, it would be XS12. And you do that, you're going to see it in a second. And XS12, or maybe you only want it to go, you want to have one box that goes half of the page, then you would say XX6. But you'll see in a second. Your only options are large, medium, small, and extra small. So let's go ahead and take a peek at how this magic works. Let's get out of here, and voila, here you go right here. We've got, these are all columns. These are all columns in a row. And in my first row, I have 12 columns. And the code is call MD1. If you have a row that you don't define any columns, you'll see it in a second, and you can download the file and take a look. If you have a row and you don't put any columns in it, by default, you get this big yellow spot right here. Nothing. Nobody home. But notice down here, instead of call MD, I used call LG-6. Well, that's half the thing wide. And down here I have SM-3. That's going to be 3 of my little boxes wide. 3, 3, 3, 3 equals 12. Or at the bottom down here, I have 4, 4, 4 equals 12. So I mean, you can do it any way that the math ends up in 12, and you're good. Now, the mystery comes into, well, what's the difference between an SM, an XXS, and an LG? And an MD and an empty. Well, let's take a peek. But before we do that, let's look at the code. It's always fun to look at the code, right? Now, I cheated a little bit, and we'll do more of this. When you start fixing up your goodies, you're going to have to use your own CSS style sheet to make things happen. Because all the stuff that you just saw over here wouldn't have had any color, and by default, none of these columns would have any width unless I define that in CSS. So I created my own CSS style sheet, and all I did is in the CSS Designer panel, which of course you can find by going Windows CSS Designer panel, I made my style sheet. I just went File, New, CSS, and then after I saved the file, I just said attach an existing style sheet. I clicked here to go Browse, and then I had saved that CSS style sheet right here, Bill intro.css. I just selected that sucker and attached it to my HTML document. I'll cancel out of that. So anyway, so in my CSS document, I've got red box, a red class, a green class, a yellow class, a blue class, and then I just attach this the same way that the Bootstrap thingy is attached. But let's go in here and look at the code. Here we go. Here is the magical code. In the body tag, right here, I've got this guy. Div class fluid, div container dash fluid. Everything goes in that, okay? It's one big box. You got to watch the video, the box model, if you're new to that. And notice I'm closing that div down here. And notice I'm put a comment in. That's a note to myself to let me know that I'm closing that div. And if you're new to comments, the comments don't affect your code. It's just notes to yourself. And to make a comment, you can highlight any text like this. I come over here, I click this little doohickey, apply HTML comment. There you go. It's a note to myself. And notice here, in my last row, I have row 4. Because notice right here, this is all you're going to get when you're either using Dreamweaver to add code or when you're typing the code yourself. This is all you're going to get. So for each row I create, I add a note, row 4. And then when I close that div, end row 4. And if you're new to CSS altogether, watch our videos here at buildthegeek.com members, and all of this comment stuff and what is a class, what is an ID, what is a what the different types of selectors are. It will behoove you to learn that. But anyway, so in my fluid container, I have all of these divs that are classes MD1, and then I say MD1 and the class blue. That's what makes these guys blue. That's what makes them yellow. That's what makes them red. That's what makes them green. That little bit of extra code after this class right here. And I've got medium size 1, medium size 1. That's it. Then you just stick text and images in the div. That's it. Down here, here's my empty row, and I just call it row, and then I give it the class yellow. row space yellow. That's like use the row class and the yellow class. So, and then down here I've got call 6. Now this, I could have used LG-1, and I could have used LG1 12 times, just like I did with MD1. Okay, so that's about it. You now here where I say div, let's go up here. Here where I say div, I could have used an HTML tag. I could have called this header instead of row. I could have called this article instead of div. So you can use the new HTML5 tags as opposed to div, and you will want to do that. So there you go. All you're doing is you're just deciding, well, how wide do I want my stuff to be? Do I want 12 columns? If that's the case, you just have all those different divs with and you can use LG1. In this top row, I could have used SM1, LG1, XS1. In this appearance, it would look exactly the same. So you just, whether you use XS, SM, LG, or MD, the concepts are all the same. As long as the math turns out to 12, you're okay. But now we get to the startling part. Are you ready to be startled? Here's what happens. We're at full screen on Dreamweaver, but I'm going to click here. These media queries, here is a media query between $9.92 and $11.99. I'm going to click it and see what happens. Okay, we're still good, but notice that these LG 6s collapse. Oh my, that's not, everybody else is okay, but these guys, let's go back to full screen. These guys used to be over here, but when I go to this media query, they collapse. Oh no, everybody else seems to be okay, but oh, let's go down here and see what, oh my God, holy, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. All my columns are all messed up. Look, oh, but my full row's okay, and it looks like my SM3s are okay, and my XS4s are fine, but what if I go to this media query here? Oh, no, oh, Mr. Bill, oh, no, oh, Mr. Bill, everybody has collapsed except for the XS4s. It's a big mystery. I don't know what to do, but we will get to the bottom of this in our next video.